if that answers your question.
Thank you so much, Lara. So next we have Adina Amponsah-Dacosta, who's speaking about the effects of national HPV vaccination programs on health systems in sub-Saharan Africa.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. So for my MPH, I had the opportunity to work on a project that involves three of my very favorite things: a virus, immunization, and the health system. Now, like most health services, it is well established that immunization programs do not operate in silos. They're actually embedded within the health system. As such, a well-functioning national immunization program is one that operates within an enabling health system. Despite this understanding, there is insufficient systematic evidence on how health systems actually impact on immunization programs like the HPV immunization program, especially from sub-Saharan Africa. So we sought to understand how health systems constraints and facilitators impact on the performance of HPV immunization programs in sub-Saharan Africa, using a qualitative systematic review study, which was conducted over a 9-month period this year. Now, in terms of analyzing our results, we developed a logic model that looked at the interface between the health system and immunization programs. We found that the evidence in the literature was heavily focused on knowledge and awareness about the HPV vaccine, and generally there was a lack of awareness about the vaccine. This means that caregivers and adolescents who are to receive the vaccine do not have sufficient information to make a decision about the vaccine. And this, in fact, reduces vaccine acceptance and vaccine uptake. Now, this is not a good thing, and it highlights the importance of reinforcing the role of health promotion in strengthening health systems. In addition, we found that the evidence showed that healthcare workers who work at the front line of immunization programs, like your school health nurses, community health workers, and nurses in general, did not always have optimal knowledge about the safety and efficacy of the vaccine. This means that they were not always in a position to give strong recommendations to their clients. And this might actually have something to do with why we see a lack of awareness within the general population. So there's space for continued training for health workers, not only about the HPV vaccine, but generally about immunization in general. Historically, adolescent and school health services have gone largely underdeveloped in sub-Saharan Africa. And what worsens the situation is weak country infrastructure. This presents a particular challenge in terms of effectively delivering the vaccine to the adolescent population. And then finally, the high cost of delivering the HPV vaccine, as compared to your routine childhood immunization program, presents a financial barrier to some of the most dependent countries who are looking to introduce the vaccine, but then are not in a financial capacity to do so. Now, is there evidence of resilient health systems? I'd say so. The HPV vaccine has been introduced into the national immunization programs of 20 countries and also delivered through pilot projects and demonstration projects in 20 additional countries, despite these significant health systems constraints. Where HPV immunization programs have been shown to be successful, this has been attributed to strong political will, clear governance structures, and also partnerships, intersectoral partnerships, as well as effective collaboration with global partners such as Gavi, the Alliance, PATH, and the Gardasil Access Program. Thank you.
Thanks, Adina. Any questions for Adina? Thank you very much.
I was just wondering, so in the last little sentence there, did you ever find that collaboration with global partners was ever unhelpful, if you know what I mean? Did it what I found in my study is that sometimes those national international relationships can be good and bad. I was just wondering if it was a similar.
Sure. So there were some studies in terms of where you have NGOs driving these immunization programs. You would find that although there's that collaboration, your ministries of education will sometimes pull out and will not, involve themselves in the program. But then the studies still show that where there was partnership and the NGOs were driving the immunization program, it was shown to be quite successful. Yeah.
I'm not sure if this was something that you included in terms of the scope, but the association with sexual activity and HPV, I'm wondering if that was also kind of sort of the socio-cultural elements and whether or not that was, I mean, I guess that's partly what political will is getting at or whatever, but also in terms of like, I don't know, nurses refusing to perform abortions or something like that, you know, the kind of associations, especially with the age that people should be getting that vaccine at.
So I think that's what makes HPV immunization very unique, because there are all these misconceptions that are actually a huge constraint to the program. So where nurses did not have sufficient information or sufficient knowledge, it really was that they had these social-cultural misconceptions. And among the general population, what I found was interesting was, although parents would say maybe they don't want to vaccinate their children because it will initiate early sexual debut, some actually supported the immunization because they thought that it's going to enhance their child's chances of being fertile, or it's going to prevent HIV. So the misconception was both ways. Yeah.
Okay, one more.
It's the knowledge thing. I just wondered, in the studies that were included, did you get a sense of how knowledge was measured? Was it prompted, false, true, false, open-ended? How was knowledge measured?
Okay, so for the most part, knowledge, it was more self-reporting. And I think we had a presentation on cues. So sometimes there would be studies that would say, have you ever heard about HPV? Do you know how it's associated with cervical cancer? What do you think about cervical cancer? And in some instances, they would be using like Likert scales. And so for the most part, it was self-reported awareness or knowledge about the vaccine.
Thanks very much, Adina. So next we have